Imagine yourself in my shoes, close your eyes and get up in here. And picture how it feels to be a king for a minute. Now feel it, Porsches, Benzes, pounds is endless. It's never hard to tell who my crew or Twizzle men's is. Players, Pepsi, and dimes all around. Plus your tight suits cut and shines by the pound. I'm down for your crew to come to my crib and play. Wake up and fly to Cancun the next day. I fuel my jet, you can go and get your clan. No need for luggage, we can shop when we land. In this era, there's no half stepping in my circle. Try to get out that, I doubt that I hurt you. Player haters linger, this basketball swinger. Staring at my grandmother's ring on my finger. Black tie affair, my suit, no need to get it. I can rock my Trism jeans and be the player most sweated. So dead it, let it go, my doe's longer swinger. More ice on my watch than in your block on December. Enrico Gonzalez, a quicker take your honey on a trip around the world. Let's spend this Lego money.
Puts it on the floor. Hey, it stops. And he brought it down. He brought the whole doll down.
Goodness. Let me see your best. Is that all you got?
And then as Scott was starting, Bowie was coming off the bench as Shaquille follows and almost and does bring down the entire backboard. How strong is he? Well, I think this backboard company will attest to it.
Never going to win.
That's not true.
He did not.
That's
win.
not true.
He did not. Well, in
That's
your
not
opinion,
true.
no. Just because you say something, it's just
That's
your
not
opinion.
true.
No, it's not true.
Me and Pat Riley never saw eye to eye, and what happened to my man win. So it's not true what you're saying.
Well,
it's not true what you're saying.
It's not true.
I'm just letting you know what you did.
Was the man on that team?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Even start.
It doesn't matter. I was a role player. You're right, but you know what?
That's my point. That's my point.
I'm saying
with your best player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship.
I'm just telling you something.
Stop babying
Wayne
these
carried
players.
you to that championship. No matter how much you scream, you loud, that does not make you right. You're wrong in the city. You can,
and that's why you ain't win, because you was a baby. Stop babying these players.
I'm not babying no players.
He don't play. He don't play. He got to sit his ass down. Period.
He got to repair.
He ain't got to repair nothing. You got to stop babying the players. You got baby. That's why you ain't win.
He got to. I didn't have Dwayne. I didn't have Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant carry me up and down the court.
So why you not Hall of Fame?
Because
I got 3 Finals MVP, Chuck.
Because you
Google me, Chuck.
Everybody
Google
knows
me,
you were a great
you
player.
see that?
Everybody
Google
knows
me.
you were a great player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship. He ain't got to repair nothing. He got to step up and play.
We all didn't have other players carrying us up and down the court. You can yell as much as you want to.
I got 3 Finals MVP. I mean,
you were a great player.
Thank
you. But you wouldn't have got him if you didn't have
point.
So I'm back. So we in Pisces season still. Shout out to all of the Pisces out there. It's still y'all season. And today we doing the famous Pisces. One of the most famous Pisces, and that's Shaquille O'Neal. If you don't know who Shaquille O'Neal is, he's a former NBA basketball player, played for the Los Angeles Lakers, Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Cavaliers, etc. But he really transcended outside of basketball. He really known as a media personality, known for owning a lot of businesses, been in a lot of shows, even been in movies. Like I think it was Kazam Kazam, I think. And a couple other movies he done been in. So, Shaq is really really a celebrity for real. He didn't really transcend it outside of basketball. So getting into Shaq chart, Shaq was born March 6, 1972 in Newark, New Jersey, and he just turned 54 years old. And of course, we know he's a Pisces. So getting into his chart, Shaq is a sun in Pisces, moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Aries, Venus in Aries, Mars in Taurus, Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn in Gemini, Uranus in Libra, Neptune in Sagittarius, Pluto in Libra, North Node in Aquarius, Length in Scorpio, and then his rising sign is a Cancer. So getting into it. So like I always like to say, getting into it. So we in Pisces season. So we gonna touch on Sun and Pisces first. So if you don't know your sun, because most people just know the basis of astrology, what their sun sign is, but they don't know their whole chart. Your whole chart really tells your entire personality. That's why you could be the same sign as somebody, but y'all act totally different. And your sun sign is just your core identity, is who you identify as. That's why most people feel like they are their sign because it is you at your core. But your moon sign is your feeling, so that's the way that you react to things emotionally. Your Mercury is your communication style, your thought process, so that determines how you communicate. Your Venus is your love language. So a lot of people look at astrology for compatibility, but they mainly look at their sun sign. But you really need to look at your moon and your Venus because your moon sign gonna tell if y'all feelings the same and the way that y'all emotionally react to things is the same. Your Venus is your love language, so that's gonna tell if y'all have the same love language. Having a compatible sign just mean that your identities is the same, such as two air signs. So both of y'all will crave communication and intellect in a partner. Because that's what y'all both identify with. Like just like two water signs will both identify as emotional people. So it will be that connection there. So so Sun and Pisces. So like I said, Sun is how what you identify as your core self. So what do we know about Pisces? Pisces is a water sign, just like Cancer and oh, Scorpio, my bad. Um, it's a water sign just like Cancer and Scorpio. So all water signs, of course, is dealing with emotions. They are the emotional ones of in astrology. So what do all water signs share in common? That they are compassionate, they can be moody, emotionally manipulative. Shout out to Scorpio. They can be compassionate, all things emotional. They can be emotionally intelligent, but then they also can go off the deep end. Of course, emotions is something that kind of goes both ways because it can influence you to make a lot of non-logical decisions, a lot of emotional things. So they can be real. Water signs can be they can get they can be real sad, real depressed, real happy, real like the extreme of emotions. Because we know that everyone is emotional, but the water signs is more so going to show it, and that's what they identify as being emotional. So what's unique about Pisces is that Pisces is ruled by Neptune because every sign is ruled by a planet. So Neptune is the sign, it's the planet of dreams and illusions, artsy things. So a lot of Pisces are good when it comes to art. So that can be anything from music to movies to drawing. Um, Pisces also always get associated with being dreamy and illusion, like a lot of daydreaming a lot. A lot of Pisces is known to sleep a lot. Trust me, I know I know the Pisces that I did have in my life, such as family members who I dated, they definitely slept more than the average person. They probably the most romantic sign. Pisces are extremely romantic. They love the fairy tale and living in a fairy tale, and that's kind of Pisces' biggest downfall is that they can kind of blur reality and they like to dream a lot. So that can lead them to getting into a lot of bad relationships, trying to always see the good in people and getting manipulated, taken advantage of because they always want to see the good in people and they can really blur the lines of reality and what's real and what's fake. So what else about Pisces? We know that Pisces also is symbolized by two fish swimming in the opposite direction. So a lot of Pisces are conflicted people. They always can dream about being somewhere else than where they're at, or they can be the classic if they're in a relationship, they can dream about being single. And when they're single, they can dream about being in a relationship. So those some of the things about Pisces off the top of my head. Let's get into the breakdown. So it says that Pisces are sympathetic, compassionate, unassuming, idealistic, intuitive, congenital, adaptive, psychic, emotional, creative, secretive, versatile, imaginative, and self-sacrificing. They also can be impressionable, indecisive, self-pitying, hypersensitive, and changeable. They need to serve others. Pisces are sentimental and romantic in love. At times they expect too much from others and then feel hurt if the other person doesn't come through for them. They have a strong tendency to place their loved one on a pedestal. This leads to disillusionment when they discover their loved one has fought too. The symbol for Pisces is two fish going in the opposite directions connected by a cord. One fish represents the personality and the other represents the spirit. These two opposing forces operate within a Pisces, causing insecurity and indecisiveness. Handling these forces in a positive manner is very difficult for them. Some will seek to escape these pleasures through eating, alcohol, drugs, or other excesses. That is what one of the fish represents. The other represents the Pisces rising to great heights through self-denial, sacrifice, and the ultimate attainment. Pisces learn through suffering and they need to learn perseverance. Pisces tend to absorb the information and environment around them. This it is important that they surround themselves with uplifting people and circumstances. Pisces are creative, self-sufficient people whose minds are extremely active due to their strong imagination, which they can sometimes get carried away with. They sense and feel things that others are not aware of. Pisces generally do not possess strong willpower, nor do they have a dynamic approach to life. Although they can appear to be very determined on the outside, underneath, inner doubts are brewing. This insecurity causes them to need reassurance from others. One of their greatest needs is to learn to understand their emotional ups and downs. Since they have a tendency to doubt their own conclusions, they need to learn to believe in themselves. Pisces are very generous with their time and helping other people. They always feel their best when they are serving others in some capacity. By using their compassion outwardly for others, they will not become as moody and introverted. Service to others is the safest, shortest road to God. Some Pisces are reluctant to hurt others or to face any sort of confrontation. They can become involved in very difficult emotional situations which they find extremely difficult to break. They have a difficulty time saying no sometimes and will stay in bad situations thinking that they can somehow change the other person and then all will be well. Some Pisces love to play the martyr while others need to play the savior. Pisces tend to think with their heart rather than their head and can be easily used by others. Many fall for any kind of sob story, much to their own detriment. Their hearts are in the right place. It's just that they need to be more realistic and down to earth. Pisces can be highly secretive, but they make friends rather easily and are quite loyal to them. They do not particularly like verbal or combative fights, but will defend their friends in subtle ways. Pisces sometimes lack vitality and which often gives people the idea that they are lazy. While some are, and Pisces in general do like to procrastinate, a Pisces need sufficient time each day to be alone while they regain their fluctuating energies. A Pisces innate desire to escape from physical lifting can be used constructively through creativity. Many forms of art, dance, and music appeal to them. They instinctively seem to know their own capabilities and limitations. Unfortunately, though, their knowledge of their limitations can create an inferiority complex. Pisces enjoy drama and acting because it gives them an opportunity of being someone else. This enables them to temporarily lose their inferiority complex. Because of their hypersensitivity, they can become instantly depressed over little things that are said to them. Pisces can appear to be deceitful because of an inborn need to justify their words and actions. If in trouble, they may attempt to rationalize their way out of rather than face the consequences of their behavior. So yeah, that was a lot, but that is everything about Pisces for sure. That's another thing that I forgot that water signs are especially known for, especially Pisces and Cancer, and that's being sensitive, very sensitive. And we see that with Shaq when the Shaq one number one Pisces traits is Shaq is definitely very sensitive, but then you see all of the other Shaq traits of being extremely giving and loving and helping people. You know, Shaq is always known for having a big heart and helping people. That is all the Pisces. Like they said, they really are good people, compassionate people want to help you, but a lot of times it do lead them to getting taken advantage of, manipulated. They have to watch certain signs like a Gemini or any air sign really can manipulate them. But yeah, even water signs too, especially a Scorpio, because a Scorpio can be real good at manipulating emotions, so they can do that to Pisces. So they definitely got to be careful. So you can definitely see all of this with Shaq. And then, of course, Pisces are known for being escapists. They like to escape reality. So a lot of Pisces are addicted to whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, sex. It's some of the things that a lot of Pisces I do um, see being addicted to. So, so yeah, that's Sun in Pisces, and that's everything about Pisces for sure. Definitely a water sign for sure, definitely emotional, and then we definitely see how that relates to Shaq. Now, next is his moon in Scorpio. So, like I said earlier, moon is actually ruled by Cancer, so it's dealing with the feelings and emotions. So Scorpio, we know it's the another water sign, so it's dealing with emotions also. But Moon in Scorpio is actually one of the worst placements to have. Um, I mean, it has its advantages, but then it's real bad too because the moon is your feelings and your emotions. So what is Scorpio represented by? We know that Scorpio, unfortunately, ruled by Pluto, gets a bad rep of being secretive, manipulative, jealous, being hating betrayal. So when it's in the moon sign, that's gonna be your feeling. So people with moon and Scorpios, trust me, because I was engaged to somebody to somebody who had a moon and Scorpio, and yeah, she fit all of these traits, but moon is Scorpio, so that means that whenever you in your feelings or doing anything that's having to do with emotional reactions, which we know a lot of relationships have, it's gonna be a person who's extremely secretive, extremely jealous. They gonna hate betrayal. They gonna and then they're gonna be someone who wants to know everything about you and might not want to disclose that much about them. So they can be real secretive people, and then they could be real suspicious type of people also, sometimes to a detriment. So, but then we know Scorpio is fixed water. So we know that and Pisces is mutable water. So Pisces is, like they said, adaptable. Pisces can change its environments a lot. That's why Pisces can get along with a lot of people because they can emotionally connect with a lot of people and hang around a lot of people. But then that also will lead to them getting manipulated also, like they said, because their feelings is ever changing based on it adapts to based on who they're around. Scorpios is more so is actually, fixed on their emotions and how they feel. So yeah, so that's Moon and Scorpio. So you see our grid, Shaq Sun and Moon sign is both in water sign. So that explains him being an emotional person, and a sensitive person that he is. So what it says about Moon and Scorpio. Shaquille O'Neal is secretive and inclined to broad in silence over the wrongs that people have done, either in reality or simply in his mind. The mental and emotional focus may be on sensational things or on sex or death. Shaquille O'Neal finds it difficult to trust people as he is suspicious of their inner thoughts and plans. Shaquille O'Neal opens himself up to very few as he does not find it easy to trust others, allowing himself to be vulnerable and to relinquish control in relationships is not easy for Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq loves passion and he hates passion. Everything is done emotionally with the intensity. Shaquille O'Neal can be very jealous and possessive in relationships. Perhaps his mother was very controlling. Shaquille O'Neal has a habit of holding on to the wrongs that have been done in the past and not forgiving nor forgetting and keeping such feelings to himself. Guilt, resentment, and vindictiveness need to overcome. Shaquille O'Neal must learn to let go of his health will suffer. Shaquille O'Neal should learn to express his feelings outwardly rather than repressing them within. Shaquille O'Neal is not content with superficial appearances and is always probing beneath the surface of things for hidden motives. Shaquille O'Neal has a great deal of emotional depth. The potential for success is great when control and discipline are learned. Shaquille O'Neal is magnetic, energetic, independent, aggressive, patient, and determined. The self-control of the passions is mandatory. So yeah, that's Moon and Scorpio. And we see how this relates to Shaq even more. Of course, we know getting back to Shaq, um, being sensitive, taking slice. We know Shaq do hold on to stuff, definitely hold grudges. We could see um definitely that from his beef with Kobe and onwards. And then Shaq brings up a lot of beefs and stuff that he had, getting into it with Dwight Howard and a bunch of centers. A lot of this come from Moon and Scorpio. The need to crash and get into it with people, then the emotional intensity also that Shaq has. So the Sun and Pisces, the Pisces is what makes you can see the loving, fun-loving Shaq, the embrace big heart Shaq. But then the Scorpio is when you see with the angry, hold grudges, sensitive Shaq. And you also get that with Pisces also, because Pisces is also very sensitive. So next is Mercury and Aries, which is also important, topping off you kind of the stamp, because I always say your sun, moon, Mercury, and rising sign is considered your big three, even though every planet matter and every planet serves its purpose, especially your Venus and your Mars. But I always say your sun, moon, and right, well, big three, your sun, moon, and rising is considered your big three. But so Mercury is ruled by Gemini and Virgo. So Mercury is the planet of communication. So that can tell how you communicate in your thought process. So his is in Aries. We know Aries is a fire sign like Sagittarius and Leo. So all fire signs, of course, would it sound like they're fiery, they're passionate, they're blunt and straightforward. So anybody who has a Mercury in a fire sign is going to be blunt and straightforward, but especially Aries, because Aries is ruled by Mars. So we know Aries is known for being impulsive, real blunt, and straightforward, craving attention, craving excitement is what Aries get associated with. So someone who has a Mercury in the Aries, they're going to be blunt and straightforward. They're going to say whatever pops in their head. Um, they're going to have, impulsive speech, and then their thought process is going to be fiery, impulsive, and you can see that definitely with Shaq. That's why his communication is as blunt as it is and as aggressive that it is, just like an Aries. So it says, Mercury and Aries, Shaquille O'Neal is outspoken and direct in speech and actions. Shaquille O'Neal thoughts are original and filled with enthusiasm and great energy. Shaquille O'Neal loves a good argument or debate and likes to compete and strategize with his mind. Shaquille O'Neal says what he means and doesn't pull any punches. Shaquille O'Neal is opinionated and loves to share those opinions, even if not asked to do so. Shaquille O'Neal loves controversy and might need to develop a little bit more tact in how he expresses his own thoughts. Shaquille O'Neal's mind is restless and filled with much nervous energy. It is hard for him to sit still. Shaquille O'Neal always has to be busy, especially with his hands. Mechanical ability may be present. Shaquille O'Neal's thoughts and words are quick and impulsive, and he may at times suffer from foot and mouth disease. It's possible that executing Shaquille O'Neal's goals requires a lack of patience and focus. Shaquille O'Neal's popularity stems from his quick wit and engaging nature. Shaquille O'Neal doesn't like to be told how to do things and wants freedom to do things his own way. There never seems to be enough time to do all the things Shaquille O'Neal has on his mind. Shaquille O'Neal may be quick-tempered, but hardly ever carry a grudge. Shaquille O'Neal gets over things quickly and then moves on. So yeah, Shaquille O'Neal in a nutshell. Just explain, he loved debating. You see this all the time with him and Charles Barkley, and what is it, inside the NBA? Because I can't even say they on TNT no more. I think they on NBC. But you see this all the time why Shaq loves to debate and argue. He direct. Shaq say whatever is in his head. He is direct. He don't pull no punches. And then he got a silly side. He can joke around. Aries is like that too, because they like attention. Um, so yeah, this is like I said, the cap to Shaquille O'Neal personality. Cause you got two water signs, you got the Mercury and Aries. So this explains him being emotional and sensitive, and then him being blunt and straightforward with what he say. So it's all feelings in Shaq chart. You notice that there's no air or earth up until you get to Jupiter, but and Saturn. But the main planets that control your actions, because these down here, um, it's kind of more so internal versus external. Because the after Mars, these is the internal things that kind of feed off the other things. With the external, in terms of personality, reactions, and everything, it's all Oh no, he got a Mars and Taurus. What am I talking about? So you do got an Earth sign, which we don't get into that. But his sun through Venus is just all water and fire, because water and fire are the fillers of in astrology. So they both are the outward goal. They go by their feelings. The earth signs and the air signs are the thinkers, the mental ones of the zodiac. So you could see this all with Shaq from his sun to his Venus. Now getting into his Venus, like I said earlier, Venus is actually ruled by Libra and Taurus. And like I said, it's your love language, it's your like what you can be attracted to and love. Because Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and harmony. So it could be with the things that you like aesthetically and such. So his is also in Aries. So again, Aries, of course, gonna crave when it's in Venus, it's gonna crave excitement in a relationship, it's gonna crave passion. It's gonna need a exciting relationship. That's what any Venus and Aries is going to want in a relationship that's exciting, that's passionate, that's intoxicating. Is what a Venus and Aries is going to want. So let me read it before I get into Shaq dating history. So it says about Venus and Aries. Venus desires relationships, sociality, and affection. Aries is forthright, demanding, and wants to take the lead. Therefore, Shaquille O'Neal may be very arrogant in pursuing relationships. Shaquille O'Neal feelings and passions are easily aroused, and he usually tries to take the lead in social matters and affairs of the heart. Shaquille O'Neal goes out and get what he thinks he wants. Trouble is, once gotten, Shaquille O'Neal might get tired of having. The thrill of the chase is more important to him than the final catch. His romances may start off in a blaze of excitement and glory, only to end in boredom and monotony. There are always fresh fields to conquer, and Shaquille O'Neal goes after them. For Shaquille O'Neal, it's always a crusade. Venus flaws are a desire to please people and a tendency to take the path of least resistance. Shaquille O'Neal may choose partners that tend to dominate him and want him to do things their way at the expense of his own desires and partnerships. Venus and Aries call for him to be assertive yet not dominating, pleasing not a dish rag. Shaquille O'Neal is independent and has an impulsive approach to love. Shaquille O'Neal like competitiveness and perhaps pick fights just for the action and excitement. Shaquille O'Neal can be very inconsiderate of others because he sometimes does not think about his actions and the effects they will have on those closest to him. And patience and selfishness can be a problem for him. So yeah, we know that Venus and Taurus is one of the most likely signs to cheat. And we know that Shaq is known as being a big cheater. Because they are impulsive and they like excitement, like they said, that this person could get tired of being in a long-term relationship, tired of being married, they need something excitement. This can be the typical person who hop from relationship to relationship because they crave that excitement. And we know that Shaq is like, that Shaq is known for, even when he was married, was known for big cheating, known for having a lot of women. That screams Venus and Aries for sure. So, well, they already got her right here. That's good. So we gonna look at Shaq dating history. So we know that this was his wife, that he had, forgot how many kids they had, at least like 3 or 4, I believe. Uh, 1, 2, yeah, they got 4 kids. I think Shaq got like 5 or 6 kids altogether. So she was born November 27, 1974 in Texas. So she's a Sagittarius. Sun in Sagittarius, Moon in Taurus, Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Sagittarius, Mars in Scorpio. So right off rip, you see that they Venus are compatible because you got a Venus in Sagittarius, a Venus in Aries. So it's 2 fire signs. So they both crave passionate relationship, exciting relationships. So that's what they had in common. So that's why worked there. They love language was the same. They both needed that passionate relationship. What else? Mercury, Scorpio, he is in Aries, so it's water and fire, so it's different, but they both um because Scorpio actually was ruled by Mars along with Aries before it ended up getting ruled by Pluto. Because like I always say, these other planets was found later on. So back then, before the other planets was found, there was more signs that was ruled by 2 planets. So Scorpio and Aries, they share a lot of the same traits, but then it's still different. So that could be a tricky when it comes to communication. Moon signs, so Taurus and Scorpio are compatible. They actually opposite signs. But we know that Earth goes with water. They both are clingy people. They both crave depth in relationships. So they was compatible when it comes to their feelings. Um, the part where they wasn't compatible is their sun sign, because Sun in Sagittarius and Sun in Pisces are definitely not compatible because it's fire and water. So they wash each other out, and then it's not like with Scorpio and Aries to where they used to have the same ruling planet, or the ruling planet to where they share some of the kind of same ideologies. Like Sagittarius and Pisces can be a bad one because Pisces can be Sagittarius probably is the most blunt sign, even more than Aries. And we know Pisces are sensitive, so that can always be a problem. And Sagittarius are free, like to have fun, not the most romantic sign. And we know that Pisces is the opposite. So that's where they wasn't compatible at, but they was compatible when it came to their Moon and Venus and their Mars, because Mars is your aggression and your sexual energy, your sexual style. So his is in Taurus, hers is in Scorpio. So again, just like they moon sign, they was compatible there. So that could explain why they was married and had kids. They was compatible in 3 out of the 4 planets that matter. 'Cause when it comes to compatibility, you look at your sun, moon, Venus, and Mars. You can look at your Mercury too, because Mercury can show if y'all had the same communication style, thought process. So you could really look Sun through Mars. So that's so 5. So they shared 3.5, because Mercury, like I said, is 50-50. So they share 3.5 out of 5 planets is compatible. Uh Next, let's see who else Shaq dated. I know he dated Hoops from Flavor of Love, but I'll see who else he got kids by. So yeah, he do got 6 kids. Uh, so kids do they got? I don't know, 5 of them was with his ex-wife, not 4. So he just got a daughter. Okay, with her. So he got a stepson because it's Shawnee had a kid that he took on. But hold on. That is her. Let's see if they got her chart. No. Nope, they don't have her chart. Unfortunately, you see she was born 1971, 55. Um, oh, just say she was born December 10th, 1971. So that no, we know that that would make her a Sagittarius also. So Shaq liked them Sagittarius. Uh, I could look up her full chart, but it'll take a minute. So, we gonna leave her alone, but we know she was a Sagittarius, just like his ex-wife. So she probably got a Venus and a fire sign too. And then, who else? You know, he dated who seriously? No, Shaq probably didn't dated a whole bunch of women, but in terms of dating seriously, did Shaq date Sidney Crawford? Shaq dated Trina? No, he wasn't dating Superhead. But we'll just look up hoops. Since I know like they was confirmed dating for some years. They don't got hoops on here. Really. I mean, you would think hoops would be oh yeah, I was about to say you would think she'd be famous enough to be on here. I didn't even know hoops was from Detroit. What? I know Delicious was. I didn't know she was from Detroit. Dang. So okay, so Hoops is actually a Cancer. Sun in Cancer, Moon in Leo, Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Cancer. So Sun in Cancer, Sun in Pisces. So they compatible with Sun sign. They both water signs. So there you go, two water signs. Moon in Leo, Moon in Scorpio is not compatible because it's fire and water. Venus in Virgo. Venus in Aries is not compatible because it's Earth and fire. Venus one is kind of more stable versus, Aries can be all over the place and need more kind of excitement. Mars in Cancer and Mars and Taurus is compatible though, because again, that's water and Earth. So they Mars sign is compatible and they Sun sign was compatible. They Moon sign and then Mercury in Cancer. Mercury and Aries is definitely not compatible because Mercury and Aries can be way too blunt and straightforward for a Mercury and Cancer. So they was compatible in two out of the five planets. Uh, so that could be why they ultimately didn't last. Trying to see how long did they date. Said around 7 years. And live together. Dang, Hoops was only 5'2". God dang. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's Shaq dating history with his wife and Hoop. So next, getting into his Mars and Taurus. So like I said, Mars is very important because that's your aggression style, which you're aggressive towards. So ruled by, like I said, Aries in control your sexuality, who you will be sexually compatible with, and how you approach sex. So here's being a Taurus. Taurus is the earth sign, just like Capricorn and Virgo. So we know all earth signs is dealing with stability. They're the ones that's most likely to be married, most likely to hold down the job. Um, but they can also be considered the boring ones of the zodiac, the stuck-up ones of the zodiac. Not really the most social as the other elements in astrology. So about Mars and Taurus. So we know that Taurus is definitely fixed Earth, so it definitely is the most stable. So we know that Taurus ruled by Venus also. So Taurus love beautiful things. They real big on beauty, on things that look good. They big on food because they like the sensational things. So they love food and smell and touch and scents and smell and all of that type of stuff. Know that Taurus love food, love cooking. Taurus is the foodies of the zodiac. So, getting into that could explain Shaq being so big that, a lot of Mars and Taurus love to eat because that's your aggressive style. So, Mars and Taurus is going to love food, and then they're going to be stable for the most part. So these is people who can keep a job, hold down the job, and things like that. So let's see what it says about Mars and Taurus. So it says, once he set his mind on the goal, his dedication, determination, and commitment to it are extraordinary. Shaquille O'Neal never gives up and finds it difficult to change his mind or course midstream. Whatever he has his sights on, he refuses to give up or let go of it. Shaquille O'Neal is loyal to a fault unless someone betrays his trust. Then all heck can break loose. Shaquille O'Neal is patient and usually slow to anger unless someone takes him too far. That is when he charged, just like the bull Taurus stands for. Shaquille O'Neal is reliable and consistent and can handle more of the workload than most around him. Shaquille O'Neal prefers a regular routine with definite hours and clearly defined responsibilities and tasks. Shaquille O'Neal enjoys building and seeing the results of his hard work. Things he can put his hands on appeal to Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal needs to see practical results, not theory, and he is not satisfied with intangibles like just having a good time. At the same time, Shaquille O'Neal has a lazy, comforting side, and there is a good deal of in into for him to overcome before he gets it going. Once Shaquille O'Neal gets the momentum going, his energy level is strong and steady. Keeping things going is his strength, especially once someone else starts them. Material well-being and security are large factors in determining what he does. Shaquille O'Neal's stamina and persistence is his great strength, but it can also work against him. He can get caught in a rut and refuse to seize new opportunities. Shaquille O'Neal also tends to play it safe and limit himself in that way. Change scares him. So do disease and pain. At times, Shaquille O'Neal has a decided stubborn streak where no one can reach him. Shaquille O'Neal's possessiveness and jealousy may cause issues in his relationships. Shaquille O'Neal values money and belongings because they provide him with a sense of security. Reconsider his priorities. It's important to foster culture of sharing. Shaquille O'Neal's tongue may be a handful at times. So yeah, that's a lot, but we see this all with Shaquille O'Neal. So this is the stable part of Shaq, the one that you see with him when he was in the NBA that caused him to work hard, set his mind on the goal, winning championships, being determined. You know, Shaq do have a lot of willpower. That's one thing that you can say, that Shaq was determined, and he can be hard working. Like they said, that's the thing about Taurus. They hard working when they want to, but then they do have a lazy, comforting side. And then you see this also when this is where Shaq get his business from. This is why Shaq's such a businessman. That's Taurus energy. He loves money like Taurus do. Um, Also, we know Taurus is extremely clingy. So with this Mars and Taurus and then Moon and Scorpio, I already know that Shaq is probably a super jealous person, super clingy person. Um, when he in a relationship with somebody. So what else? Shaquille. Oh yeah, then like I said, that's what even now with working at working all of the jobs that he have done also, that's what comes from his Mars and Tauri energy because he likes having a set routine. So that's what the NBA gave him. That's what the inside the NBA. Hope I'm saying it right. Hey, I think it's inside the NBA. Yeah, it is inside the NBA. So, it give him a routine and something steady to do that he could keep up with. So you could definitely see this with Mars and Taurus. It's the one place, like I said, it was lacking air and Earth. So it's the one place that makes Shaq kind of stable when it comes to everything. So kind of the same factor. So the one thing that he is missing is air. So that's why Shaq doesn't come across as the most intellectual person because that's air energy. Air signs are the intellectual ones, the communicative ones. So whenever a chart is lacking an element, that it can show in their personality, just like my chart lacks water in it. So that's why I'm not a real emotional person. That's why I don't really do good with emotions. Somebody with who chart lacks fire is they're gonna lack passion. They could be more so of a procrastinator, especially if it's all air instead of in no real fire. It can be hard for them to they'll be overthinkers. The same if it's all earth and no fire, they can be they could be big procrastinators or scared to really put themselves out there. So yeah, that's Mars and Taurus.